That was a giant chug. Hi, I'm back.
Mhm.
I actually hadn't had any issues until that very moment.
See, now I'm nervous anytime you say the word I'm back. I'm like, did our stream just split in half?
That's what I'm always start to work on checking on.
All right.
But anyways, do continue.
So anyway, speaking of the Reapers, I'm going back to what I didn't like, and I didn't like the Reapers, but I didn't like their design.
Yeah.
It
Yeah, we
almost
got
looks
split.
like. It almost looks to me like somebody tried to CGI a plushie when they made the Reapers.
Well, at least they were better designed than the Langoliers.
That doesn't say much, Tim.
That's a low bar.
Langoliers were 3D monsters when 3D was barely even a thing, especially even
they-
for TV movies.
They were Pac-Man.
That's putting that nicely. Pretty sure
But,
Pac-Man had more pixels.
But they really don't look like what you think they'd look like. And the way that they're CGI animated is kind of not that good.
Yeah.
But this is. I also take that with a grain of salt because this is the first season of Doctor Who, and a lot of what they had to do was shoestringed budget.
See, there was the trash can.
Yeah, that was horrible CGI.
I don't think there was anything to complain about in End of the World.
No, that's where they spent all of their budget for that filming block.
Which again is why I can actually believe that this was an episode where Davies was like, "Yeah, we're gonna use this as like more of a character study than anything."
The other half
just like, no monsters.
The other half of their CG budget was probably put on Dalek models that they knew they could use in a variety of ways.
This wasn't the Dalek filming block.
I still think they would splurge some of that money around to help pay for Daleks.
The money was apportioned per filming block.
So that post-production budget is apportioned that way too?
Yes. Because the post-production company receives them in the filming blocks.
Okay.
So each episode is part of that block, and those blocks are budgeted.
Got you.
For pre-filming and post. They're each considered a separate production work, if you would. Except for when you get up to the next level, which is the point that
the Mighty Jaggerfest and the Daleks definitely would have been the same block.
Yes. Yes, they would have. And I can believe that because the Jaggerfest is not that great of a monster.
Right.
It seems to have like 2 or 3 repeat animations.
It's like a blamage with teeth.
Yeah, it's not a very detail-heavy creature either.
Yep. This would have been, I think, because the block after this, of course, was Empty Child Doctor Dances. So I think this might have been in the filming block with Boomtown. I don't know. I'd have to have gone back and looked at the original first.
Yeah, I would have to see what the filming blocks looked like.
Right.
Anyway, I just think that they did skimp a little bit on the CGI for the Reapers.
They're not horrible, but they're not particularly great either.
Yeah, which if it is true that they were never supposed to be there in the first place, then probably explains why.
Yeah. All right. So, favorite scene, Matt.
Favorite scene. I think I have to go with Pete essentially saying goodbye to Rose before he runs outside.
Oh, God damn you.
Snatch.
I wept at that scene.
I'm chopping onions every time.
I'm just absolutely just like blubbering, and I don't remember doing that in the original run. But I certainly did this time.
Yeah.
All right. So that would be Thomas.
Honestly, I'm going to go with that little conversation off to the side that the doctor has with the couple that are getting married.
God damn it, that was my number 2.
Yeah, God damn it.
Where, I mean, it was there was another one I was almost going to go with, but I went with this one instead. Because yeah, it's just nice that like, even they're very casually like, well, I mean, you know, we don't matter, and he's just like, I didn't say you didn't matter. Like, who said you didn't matter? Like, you know, that whole little thing is like a nice little aside.
All right. Tim?
I love the thing where the doctor is like telling Rose is like, I have a time machine. Do you seriously think it never occurred to me that I could go back and like save my planet? like he's trying to like impress on her like the weight of, you know, like the doctor may sound like seem flippant and frivolous in his adventures, but like it shows that he takes his decisions and his actions seriously by his standards, at least, if not by human standards.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's kind of a trick because I don't. The time we're supposed to be time locked, so in theory, he shouldn't shouldn't even have been possible for him.
Doesn't mean he doesn't think about it.
True.
Yeah. And it's like the point is more like, I've lost a ton of people too, so I can get where you're coming from, but that doesn't mean that we should do that, sort of a thing.
I think it's just rule 1: the doctor lies.
Anyway, your favorite scene, Bill?
So I think I'm going to go with the scene where Rose is spinning all of this bullshit about how she imagines Pete would have been, and it's just dawning on him, and he's like, that's not me. She's making this up. Why is she making this up? Oh shit, I'm supposed to be dead. And just the way Pete's actor sells that moment is great.
Yeah.
The way Sean Seals basically deals with that, it's absolutely perfect. And then you see him in the follow-up scene behind the doctor and Rose, just with that whole troubled thought, until he eventually pipes up with, you mean with me being dead? You know, it's like, yeah, it all works. So I think with my two primary selections, I think I'll go for my favorite scene is the very end one where you have Jackie reading to young Rose the revised story of what happened. And the little changes, like this point, whereas before it was a hit and run, this time the guy got out and waited for the police. You know, little changes, but still the same story. And I just thought that was just a good way to end it.
Yeah, like the other one that I was gonna bring up, instead of what I went with, was going to be when Rose is realizing just how like at each other's throats her mom and dad were. So she's like, oh fuck, this like is not exact. This isn't the impression I was given. What the fuck? Because like it's not even when she's saying anything, she's just like looking at them both and being like, what the fuck's going on? And then she like pipes in.
Yep. All right. So let's talk about scenes we didn't like. And Matt, you're first again.
Um, I don't know. Scenes I don't like is kind of a stretch. Um, the closest I can maybe come to it is literally if it literally felt like a dozen people shouting at once "no" as they're pushing Rose into Rose's arms. And that always came up as why wasn't anyone there to stop it, and why didn't she literally just back away?
Because when
Well, she
someone
was
hands a
sitting
baby in
down.
your arms, your first thought isn't throw it on the floor.
Yeah, but when you're constantly near something that you've been warned never to touch constantly, you'd think you'd keep your distance. I don't know. It's always struck me as a very odd particular moment, and it's just like, why?
Yeah, it was Jackie's fault.
Yep.
She pretty much shoved baby Rose into Rose, so Jackie broke the universe.
Or was it Rose's fault because she didn't want to tell Jackie? She specifically said, I don't want to tell her.
Yeah, that might have been why.
Yeah.
Anyway. So, Thomas? Or wait. Was it Thomas? I'm sorry.
Thomas.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass because I can't really think of anything even nitpicky that isn't just a general thing.
Okay. Tim.
The first part where the Doctor and Rose go to see Pete and Jackie get married was kind of sweet but underwhelming in my eyes. As you know, or like Rose's reaction to it was a bit, like I was expecting more from her at this moment. I don't know. It is a nitpick, like I was just grasping at straws trying to think of a scene I didn't like, because this episode really was good.
All right, Bill.
The scene where Jackie is like, "What? How many kids do you have? And are they all named Rose?" Like that scene always just like something struck me as off about that, and it's just like that's your first. I mean, I get most people wouldn't jump to time travel, but it's also after Pete already figures it out. And then we get Jackie, who her first thought is, "Oh, this guy has kids all over the countryside, and all of them are named Rose." That's the most logical explanation she comes up with.
Clueless.
Are you fucking kidding me?
That's our Jackie.
Yeah. There's a reason that in the season 2, when he winds up time traveling with Jackie, he's like, "Please don't tell anyone." All right. So my least favorite scene is the one where the Doctor goes back to the TARDIS and then opens the door and it's just a box. Because I felt they could have done it better. I've never liked the fact that the TARDIS shell without the TARDIS would just be a box. That seemed a cheap way to do it. I thought, they could have done a fade out effect or something in front of the Doctor's eyes that would have made him go, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
But instead they had to open it so that they basically had the inner prop walls. And I'm like, not really doing it for me. It's a nitpick, but it's just one of those things that just bothered me. And again, it's probably because they were, trying to do this on a budget.
Yeah.
Or, they might have had that plan to be a special effect, but they had to spend that money on the Reapers, which were added at the last minute.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that. It's just one of those things that I'm just like, it's unimpressive. All right, final thoughts. Matt.
Final thoughts. Any problems I have with this episode usually tend to be nitpicks. This is a really good character study. It just feels like they unnecessarily fluffed the episode with Monster of the Week. Could have done without, but it doesn't take away
Alright.
from the really good parts of it.
Mm.
All right, Thomas.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat where it's like, as good as this episode is, that is just it's one of those episodes that falls into a category of episodes where it feels like it would have been better without the monster of the week, and that's like the one thing dragging it down from otherwise being, I mean, not necessarily perfect, but like, it's like an element that it's just like, why is this even here? But otherwise, yeah, I don't know how long it's been since I last watched this, but um, yeah, this is definitely one of the better episodes of series one, I would say. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch all of series one to really refresh my memory of my opinions of episodes and that, but yeah. If anyone hasn't seen this, I would definitely recommend it. Just like let the let the monster of the week slide if you can. I couldn't really, and I don't know how much that's going to affect my score, but yeah, I would say it's worth watching.
All right.
All right, that's me.
Yep.
I love this episode. I think it's a great acted, well-written episode with unique insights, and it goes beyond just being an episode in that for me, it raises some like profound philosophical questions that like really engages my brain, like as to the nature of existence and 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 human beings, and everything like that. So yeah, this is definitely worth watching.
All right. Anything else?
Um, no, just like there was some very minor nitpicks, but is like I remember the first thing I said, like when I saw this episode for the first time, is like it made me like go on this like existential crisis, almost like saying, if I was about to die, would I want the doctor to save me? Because would that mean that I'm not a fixed point in time and like I'm ultimately insignificant? You know, like like uh like yeah, you can live. It's not like you're gonna affect your like because like even your death a person's death affects the universe. You know, so and it's very rare for an episode like to like affect me that deeply, so I give kudos to this story.
All right. Bill.
So I feel like this is generally viewed as kind of a forgotten episode. It's not really part of the season plot, and it's really easy to just kind of forget that it exists when you look at the season from a serialized perspective. But like so much that's considered filler in serialized shows, there's a lot of character development here. And I don't think I had paid attention in my previous viewings to just how much Pete's character is humanized and just how much goes into the performance of this episode. Um, which is, I think in the past I had mainly focused on, the bad effects of the Reapers and why are they there, and less so on the human characters, which I think are the positive side of the episode. So the episode's definitely better than I had given it credit for before. Um, I'm still trying to decide, and I have to decide soon, obviously, because we're doing ratings. How I feel that balance comes out to as a rating.
All right. Before I give mine, I'd like to I'd like to make a note here that I can find no evidence that the Reapers were never in the script. In fact, I did find a behind the scenes note that said the original script described the Reapers as Grim Reapers who cut their victims down with scythes, but they changed it to an alien during production team discussions.
Yeah,
So,
I would have gone with the original idea. That sounds more interesting.
I
mean,
do
the
feel
original
like
idea
that
would have
wouldn't
been
really
more
that would fit
practical.
not fit as well with the Doctor Who mythos. I think it would have been a little bit
Oh,
more
I'm not saying
out
like make
there.
them 100% a Grim Reaper, but at least have it something that very much resembles one.
Hmm.
Would have
Roger
also cut down
Delgado
on
look
the it
alike.
would have cut down on the episode costs too, which were obviously
Uh,
a problem with the CG monster.
a bunch of people made up to look like Roger Delgado.
anyway, so I think this episode is good. It could have been great, but the monster really does kind of lag it down. I really think the monster should have been cut from the script. I do like the concept of them basically being in a time, like an isolated time bubble that's slowly dissolving.
Hmm.
Would have been an easier way for them to deal with it, but Doctor Who at that point wasn't known for concepts that Star Trek did um, a couple decades prior. Because Star Trek did do something like that with a warp bubble once.
Hmm.
But nonetheless, I do think they did not have the budget for the monsters, and the monsters seem kind of superfluous to the plot. They just really feel like they're there to be monsters, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have even liked it better if it had just been like a wave of temporal energy sweeping people away, than having the monster be a physical form. I don't know. It just detracts it.
And that's a CGI effect they could do better in 2005 than they could do in 1985.
Yeah, it would have
Technically,
just
yeah.
been, and it wouldn't have been that expensive either.
Mm-hmm. All you need to do
Lower.
is green screen some of the people into the background, and then just do like a dissolve with a bit of a ripple effect or something.
Hell, even if they just overlaid the opening as a gradient effect over for a few seconds.
But
That too, if you need to do it in the cheap.
But regardless, I think the Reapers bring it down from what would have been a great episode to a good episode. Other than that, this is an emotionally charged, very good episode that really kind of goes into Rose's background. All right, let's rate this puppy. Matt, you are first.
I'm really close to giving this a 4.5, but I really do believe that the character study and some of the other elements outside of the Reapers actually push this back up to a 5, just enough for me.
I couldn't give this one a 5.
Okay. So we have our high rating.
All right, Thomas.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those cases where if the Reapers and that weren't there, I probably would have given this a 5, but I'm going to it's just enough that I can justify knocking it down to a 4.5.
Tim.
Like I said, this touched my heart and brain in a way, so I have to give this a 5 for personal reasons.
All right, Bill.
I hope Randy has my back and I'm not just sitting at the bottom way away from everybody else. But my inclination was at first to give this a 3, but I feel like Pete's actor and like the Pete's character in general gives it a bump up to give it to a 3.5.
No, you're at the bottom.
Shame.
So you're a 4.5 too?
I'm not going to be a 4.5, but I'm going to give it a 4.
That's not far from me. That's close enough that I'm not a mile away.
I'm going to give it a 4, and I can tell you that this would have been a 4.5 or a 5 even if it wasn't for the Reapers.
Uh,
I have
for-
to give it a half-point bump because I think the Reapers themselves are superfluous, and another one because they're shittily designed.
Release the Davies cut.
Yeah.
Oof. Every
Send the-
good party needs a pooper. That's why we invited Bill. Party pooper.
So with that
Ha-
3.5,
Hashtag release the Davies cut.
so with all that involved, it averages out to a 4.4. While not going to be the highest thing we put, that's still relatively high on our list. It'll come in at number 74.
Double
Out of
digits.
346 things reviewed. It is on par with the War Games, Terror of the Zygons, Husbands of River Song, Face the Raven, Haunting of the Villa Diodati, The Time Warrior, Partners in Crime, Rise of the Cybermen, Age of Steel, The 11th Hour. We like The 11th Hour.
Mm-hmm.
It is better than The Three Doctors, Nightmare in Silver, The Ice Warriors, Dalek Invasion of Earth, Battle of Ranskorev Kalos, etc. And not as good as Rosa, The War Machines, The Invasion, the Rebos Operation, Thin Ice, Mission to the Unknown, etc. So there we go. 74 out of 346. That is our final score for Father's Day. Bill?
All right. So let us know in the comments below what you think of the episode. And yeah, what your ratings or your favorite bits are, which ratings you agree most with. Don't forget to like or dislike the episode if you feel those things, and to follow us on YouTube to get our exports, subscribe on YouTube, or to follow on Twitch to get our new streams.
All right, so next week, after finishing William Hartnell last week, we've decided to take a break and do a little Big Finish. We're starting Susan's War with Big Finish, Sphere of Influence. Written by Eddie Robinson and starring Carol Ann Ford as Susan and William Russell as Ian Chesterton. So we'll see you for that next week.
All right. Good night.
Good night.